Shall we start?
Professor Parida has not joined yet, or has he?
No, he's not joined us yet.
He said that he is doing it.
I think he may be searching for the link. Can it be sent on his WhatsApp, etc.?
There are 160 participants already.
Okay.
162.
Okay.
Brilliant.
But where is Parida, the moderator?
I think let us start. In the meantime, I'll ask Nishant to connect.
Parida has telephone. Just a moment. Hello, Parida sahab. Kya?
Join here.
Yeah, that's right. We are not able to hear, not able to see you. अच्छा, as a panelist add करना पड़ेगा. हाँ, तो Ghosh साहब, Mr. Ghosh.
Yeah, I will. Just a minute. We will send the link to him again.
ने panelist नहीं कर सकते.
It has been sent. A link has been sent to him again.
Parida sahab, another link has been sent to you immediately.
Sir.
So you can join through that.
He's joined.
Yeah, you have joined. Yeah. We could see you. Yeah.
Sir.
That's fine. You can add. Can we start now?
Yeah, let's start.
Yeah. Okay, आप शुरू कराइए.
Good afternoon. This is Somnath Ghosh. It's my pleasure to welcome you to today's webinar by IRF India chapter. This is a part of the webinar series on road safety education and awareness, a comprehensive approach. And this is the third webinar in the series titled Role of Stakeholders in Creating Awareness for Road Safety. With this, I would like to invite Professor P.K. Sikdar to deliver the welcome address and the keynote address. Professor Sikdar, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. Good afternoon to all available online participants, speakers, and of course, the manager, Mr. Ghosh.
Professor Sikdar, you have to switch on your video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, is it all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
As Mr. Ghosh has already said, that this is a series of 3 webinars on road safety education and awareness, a comprehensive approach. And this is the third of the series on role of stakeholders in creating awareness for road safety. As a part of the welcome, I would like first to welcome the moderators, the well-known Professor Manoranjan Parida. He is Director, Central Road Research Institute, New Delhi, and also an illustrious group of 5 panelists for this webinar, who all will be introduced by Professor Parida subsequently. I also welcome all the participants, attendees of this webinar who all share the same anxiety about the road safety situation in the country and are keen to know about how all the stakeholders can be mobilized to create the awareness for sensitizing the entire gamut of road users in a better way to achieve the true objectives of road safety. IRF India chapter is an extension center of International Road Federation located in Geneva, Switzerland, existing since 1948, which is a global organization having the UN Charter of Consultative Status on better transport for humanity, which includes road safety as a prominent area of its work. It works with government, industry, and civil society across the globe for advocacy, promotion, and safe transport for all. My responsibility is also to introduce the moderator, which I shall do by saying that I know Professor Parida for last 3 decades or more. He is presently the director of Central Road Research Institute, and he is actually a professor at the Department of Civil Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Roorkee, and joined CRRI only 2 months back, 2.5 months back in September. He was Ministry of Road Transport and Highways, Chair Professor on Development of Highway System in India at IIT Roorkee for 6 years, a recipient of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru Bicentenary Award in the year 2004 from Indian Roads Congress, and received the Outstanding Teacher Award of IIT Roorkee. He is also a kind of busy researcher, and he contributed significantly in the noise modeling and design of noise barriers. I can go on like this, but being conscious of time, I would stop here, and you will know more when he moderates the panel. My request to Professor Parida is to give 10 minutes to each speaker or panelist, and there will be a question answer session after all the presentations are over. Now my role is to make a short keynote address. I've been asked to make this keynote address brief, of course, which I want to do in a couple of minutes only. You all know that road safety doesn't get into the mind of any of the road users till the safety problem touches him, that person, in some way. Most road users think always that they are the best driver or best road user, always, in all forms of road use. Yet, there are about 440 road deaths in India every day. And this happens to those also who believe themselves to be the best or most safe road user. It includes them as well. Fundamentally, the government and the road users all have the roles and responsibilities for road safety in equal proportion. No one alone can solve this socio-technical problem of humanity. The culture of road safety can be inducted or injected to the population, I mean the road users, which will take probably a generation. That too by a systematic effort of the government, which is of course grossly missing in our country till now. I would like to give a couple of examples on this and urge the responsible departments, authorities to gear up and build capacity and sensitize their teams to do things in correct way so that we can change the road safety culture. Most, or at least many of us, know or might have experienced even the road safety culture in Singapore. Pedestrian, motorcyclist, car or bus or truck drivers have the best and most appropriate road facilities, and they have same common road users or road safety rules to follow. No one is spared for committing any mistake or for defiance of rules. What is the status of road infrastructure in our country? In our motor vehicle population, 80% of the vehicles are motorized two-wheelers. Have we ever designed our road infrastructure suiting to their requirements? 30% to 60% of all daily trips in a city, depending on city sizes, are performed as pedestrian and cyclist. Does any of our cities have required infrastructure for them? Basically, we need to educate, sensitize, and make aware the road authorities and the professionals they use or employ. They are actually the planners and engineers to plan and design the road infrastructure to meet the requirements of majority road users. These are the majority road users, that will be required to change the safety situation in the country. Second concern is the traffic enforcement. Are there strict enforcement on two-wheelers, pedestrians, and cyclists, which cannot actually be done without providing the proper infrastructure for them? Also, in most cases, enforcement is done from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. or 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. like that, like your office goers, office hours, which doesn't work at all for inculcating safety culture in road users. It is to be 24/7 using all modern technologies. Enforcement agencies are scared to adopt technologies thinking as if they will be redundant. That's not the case. They'll have still roles and responsibilities to deliver enforcement. Therefore, the first task is to create the correct awareness in the road authorities and enforcement agencies and the like, all stakeholders and the government end, to develop their capacity as well as awareness on the cause and effect relationships of road safety, educating them about what works and what doesn't work. They are the stakeholders for the safety of all road users, and their awareness and understanding is the first requirement. No doubt, the road users are equally responsible. They are also their own stakeholders, but those who provide the infrastructure and forces, they are the major stakeholders. That has to be right first, and then only the other thing, the other end will work properly. I think I need not say anything more at this stage. That is more than enough. And I hand over the situation to Mr. Ghosh. You please continue.
Yeah,
Mr.
will you
Ghosh.
play the road safety anthem as we always do,
Yes, please.
just for 1 minute. Okay, I guess.
Devices are on.
I think
Parallel devices.
yeah. Yeah, muted. Yeah. Straight. Late now.
If it is difficult, then we'll do it after Professor Parida's.
I think there's some glitch, so I'll just continue with our program. It is my pleasure to give the vote of thanks first to the panelists here, who Mr. Professor Sikdar has already referred to. The panelists are all experts in the field, and I'm sure the attendees would gain much. I also thank the attendees for joining us today. There were almost 350 attendees here who are listening to us. And thank you for joining us. And this is a very important message that we carry on behalf of IRF India chapter for road safety. And last but not the least, I would also like to thank the supporting organizations, the World Economic Forum, and our sponsors for this program, the Gawar Construction Limited, Dilip Bilcon Limited, Ashoka Bilcon Limited, Maruti Suzuki, and 3M. With this, it is my proud privilege to invite Professor Manoranjan Parida, Director CRRI, to take over as the moderator. Professor Parida, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. A very good afternoon to everyone. And I would like to thank...
Professor Parida, you need to unmute yourself, please.
Am I audible now?
Yeah, you are. I can hear you.
Yeah, I can also hear you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so I can
Professor
go ahead.
Parida needs to unmute, please.
He is already unmuted. He is speaking. I can
unmuted.
hear him.
Yeah, I am unmuted, Professor.
Okay, fine.
Ghosh.
Thank you. Yeah.
So thank you, Mr. Ghosh. And I would like to thank Professor Sikdar, who is also the Chairman, Research Council of Central Road Research Institute, for engaging me as a session moderator for this webinar series. It's a very important webinar series, Road Safety Education and Awareness, a comprehensive approach. In fact, in keynote, Professor Sikdar talked about a couple of points, whom to educate. There could be various groups of users, and what could be the possible theme. At some point of time, people started educating the small school children. But yes, means that's really not going to be enough. You have all possible kinds of road users and the various ways and means. Today, you have very innovative, very creative kind of ways by which this awareness can be spread. There has been studies where people have used even the religious leaders for propagating awareness. So there could be different ways and methods, and the particular media that is being used, the language or the communication channel which is used, that is very, very important. I'll not dwell much into that. We have five eminent panelists with us today, and I would like to introduce them one by one. To start with, we have Mr. Akhilesh Srivastav. He is a globally known digital and innovative leader with path-breaking e-governance projects like FASTag, e-tendering platform, ODR portal, citizen-centric multiple highway information applications and mobile apps, geofencing of national highways, etc. So he's very rightly talking about the role of social media, which plays a very important role, and that can certainly be used for educating the masses on road safety. Mr. Srivastav is currently leading the World Economic Forum, which is initiative in India Road Safety 2.0. And this Road Safety 2.0 is shaping the future of road safety in India with a technology-driven approach and creating a human-centric road ecosystem where technology compensates for human limitations and saves life by improving road safety. He is also a road safety ambassador of IRF internationally. Then our next speaker is Mr. Jehan. He's the son of a truck driver who traveled the length and breadth of country as a cleaner. So this hands-on experience he's going to share. As I said, there could be very different and diverse kind of users on the road. And as his experience grew, it became a dream to come up with a cost-effective solution that drivers can use and really depend on it. And Mr. Jehan's latest social venture startup, Good Mining, is using AI to save over 100 lives daily in road accidents. They are creating an ecosystem for drivers where everything the driver needs can be serviced and supported. To create a sustainable and scalable model, they don't only focus on tech, but also user and business to build solutions that users love to use. Globally recognized as a smart solution on road safety by WEF, they are making in India for the world. Our third speaker is Ms. Rajni Gandhi. He is co-founder and Secretary General of Trucks Sports Society. Rajni is a passionate road safety advocate with an experience of more than a decade with keen practical knowledge in safe road user behavior, policies and planning. As a facilitator, have been engaged in capacity building training programs for different stakeholders on road safety. Capacity building can do a lot of role with respect to promoting awareness. Being a part of various national and international road safety conference as speaker and participant, with an MA in psychology, Rajni combines her passion with the desire to bring about visible improvements in road safety. Most of her efforts are based on the ground, backed by strong advocacy. With her committed efforts, Rajni is undoubtedly one of the strong advocates for road safety in the country today, duly acknowledged at various global forums. Our fourth speaker is Professor P.K. Sikdar. I said he's advisor, International Road Federation India chapter, while he is a president at ICT Private Limited. He has been a former professor of civil engineering and dean at Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay. I have the opportunity to work with Professor Sikdar as a student at IIT Roorkee, that time University of Roorkee. And Dr. Sikdar is also former director, Central Road Research Institute, CSR CRI, New Delhi. Professor Sikdar has been involved in the teaching, research, and R&D management for road and road transport sector, including highway planning and management for more than 4 decades. He has been involved in planning of many prestigious projects in the country, like Delhi Metro, Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link, Western Freeway in Mumbai, and many others. He is a fellow of Institution of Engineers India, the Chartered Institute of Logistics and Transport, and Indian National Academy of Engineering. Our fifth speaker is Ms. Vandana Lakhanpal. She is co-founder Prabhav Foundation. She is driven by her belief, Karma Parmo Dharma. She makes things happen instead of waiting for them to happen. She is actively involved in organizing and leading at the foundation. Vandana takes it upon herself not to stay anchored in the routine, always looking for new challenges and associating with programs that would leave a positive impact on the society. She is a creative artist too. So we have a very diverse kind of panelists with expertise in multiple domains associated with road safety education and awareness. So without taking much time, now I will invite Mr. Akhilesh Srivastav from World Economic Forum to deliver his presentation. And I'll request each of the panelists to stick to that time of 10 minutes each. So that way we can close the session on time. So thank you, and over to Mr. Akhilesh Srivastav.
Thank you very much, Dr. Parida. And I hope I'm audible to.
Yes, I can hear you.
So thank you very much. Actually, I am sitting at the airport, so I thought it was very well. The topic for today is so interesting and so impactful. I had plenty of things to talk about, but considering the 10 minutes given, I will be touching very apt points which are actually required to be addressed to create a mass awareness, educating masses on road safety, and what should be the best way, what should be the most impactful way. So without taking much time, let me just give a small insight about what is Road Safety 2.0, where we are leveraging technology to save lives. What I believe, the road safety will not be achieved fully till the time we just focus only on the zero fatality corridor roads or something like that. So the roads, zero fatality or the zero fatality corridors are fine. The road has to be safe. That's the primary requirement. But by just doing this, making the roads 100% engineering marvel fully safe, these are not going to, in fact, prevent the accidents, which is evident from the fact that in spite of removing the black spots, making zero fatality corridor, putting cameras and everything, in 2021, the fatalities increased by nearly 16%. That means this approach alone is not working and something is missing. And now what is missing? What we come to with based on our understanding, the pilots which we did through World Economic Forum and various international studies, what I conclude is, but I propose two major things are required for reducing the fatalities, apart from the making the safe road. One, the intelligent vehicles. We are in a digital age where the vehicles can have the ADAS system, or they can have this so many technology-driven inbuilt features into the vehicle, which looks in the front of the vehicle, that also looks within the cabin and keeps on alerting the drivers that they have to. They are always on toes. They are alert drivers. They are given due caution before something happens. And similarly, it is the camera, which is or the sensors which is looking forward. They when they see the vehicle is about to collide, at a safe distance, they start putting the buzzer, they're giving the alarm to the driver. So we require these two things in addition to smart road. One is the intelligent vehicles and the alert users. Now, how to make the users alert? There can be one is the technology alerts, giving the technology system which I just discussed. And second thing is the enforcement, which we find mostly in the developed countries, very advanced kind of enforcement is available. Because of the fear of enforcement, the huge penalty, the people are always on the toes. Now this, and the second is creating a very good awareness among the people about the road safety. Coming to the enforcement can be both. It can be a positive or it can be a negative. Negative means if you're over speeding, you are jumping a red light, you are driving casually or dangerous driving, then and once it is caught, they are severely penalized and things, which in my opinion alone does not work in India when considering many factors specific to the India. For example, the number of police force per 1 lakh of the population in India is 1/4 of the global average. So as it is, we have paucity of police force, the very densely populated cities, the huge population pressure, paucity of infrastructure, and so many things. So these and many other issues which police has to solve, other more pressing needs than this. Looking at the ITS system or enforcing the road safety. So considering this, what I propose, what I believe, the enforcement should be made in a positive tone. Positive tone, when I mean that, which I did in a pilot, induce a driver a self-discipline kind of thing. When he drives properly, he keeps on earning certain points for every safe kilometer he drove. Let the drivers to create a safe driving score. Every driver who is having a driving license, they should have some safe driving score, and those driving scores are monetized or incentivized in form of some money, in form of some free coupons for petrol or diesel, in form of some incentive in insurance premium, and so many things, which we are working, and they are actually giving good results, much better than the negative kind of enforcement. Second thing is the awareness, which I'm going to deliberate a little more today. The awareness has to be absolutely focused and impactful. Just citing something or making some a week road safety week or these things, in my opinion, these are not a correct approach. They create an awareness, temporary awareness, but they are not the impactful thing. People immediately after these smaller events, they are more like cosmetics or eye wash. What I propose is that we must have the awareness campaign in the targeted audience. For example, the truck drivers. They must be advised, because when you sit in a truck, you'll find the job of a truck driver is extremely difficult. They're continuously driving, road hypnosis, so many issues keeps on taking place. They have to be properly trained, they should be given due rest and all those things. I think next speaker will be talking more on that, so I'm not going to discuss that. Second is we should focus on the young drivers who are every year roughly 85 to 90 lakh Indian youth attain the age of 18 year plus, and they generally they are eligible for the driving license. So if we target them every year, these people who are coming for the driving license, they should be encouraged to go to a training school, carry out good driving on simulation, practical driver, and their SDS are calculated. Based on those SDS, digital monitoring, the license should be issued to them. So we are creating slowly a bunch of people who are well trained, who are having good temperament for the driving, which is built with that. And third is the school children. The school children are the future citizens. We got 15 lakh school in the country which are registered. So if we do the school, we train the school or create the school zone safe, and which I very recently launched a platform which was made by in collaboration with 3M Proactive Foundation, where we intend to monitor these schools. So once the school zone are safe, all road markings, signages, etc. are there. They practically tell the children the road should be like this. And once they have a habit of looking at this, they will search everywhere. And once they become 5, 6 years, 10 years, the drivers, they are well trained. The mind. So after 5 years, you will find a drastic change in the thinking of the people. And then the impact should be and the education and these should be through social media also, which reaches to the mass, not a newspaper. Nobody nowadays reads a newspaper. I'm not going into this detail. This data is known. Let's discuss why we require social media penetration in India. To promote this. Just have a look at the social media penetration in as on date. It's nearly 60%. So share of the 60% of people are glued to the social media network, maybe Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Somewhere or other they are there. So if we want to reach them quickly, this is I think one of the best medium. A small, impactful creatives can be made, some small videos can be made, which can be targeted and sent to the people specifically. And this has an impact. I will be sharing with my experience when I was implementing FASTag, how these social media was extremely impactful in changing the, creating a social awareness about any thing which we desire. Like that time, it was FASTag. Now we can create a impactful impact about the road safety on this. The India actually, in my opinion, is much ahead of other countries when we talk about the dominance of the social media. You can see Twitter, we are the third in the global ranking, LinkedIn second, Facebook, and all Instagram, YouTube, including Telegram. The India leads the globe. So these social media platforms are very impactful to carry a message of social importance to the people. But the messaging has to be correct, has to be targeted. For example, if you post something which Instagram is a platform used by mostly youngsters. So when I was talking about the young people coming for the driving license, the best platform to reach them is the Instagram. And they see the 230 million people, youngsters are using it. So if we want to target youngsters, we should focus on this. If we want to target some middle-aged people, probably YouTube and the Facebook can be good ideas to think through. So these and there are many advantages of social media platform apart from the visibility to the target audience. It's very easy and very cost effective, creating an small creative and small messages, and it or a video, TikTok kind of video or a small video does not require much money. Plenty of experts are available who can do it quickly. And now almost, as I said, it's a penetration is nearly 60%, so it reaches to the people very easily. Further, we can have engagement with the people through our chats, through forums, and other social media impactful programs are also there to create the impact. An example which I'll end the talk, because I think I have done my 10 minutes, is the personal example of the FASTag, I will say, and the Road Safety 2.0, which we have been doing. The social media was so impactful in taking creating awareness about the FASTag. We had created a set of people, one Mr. Cool and another Mr. Fizul. So Cool was a guy who had FASTag and he was doing everything proper. And the Fizul was a man who was always lazy and not put FASTag in his bag. So every day he was late in office, getting bullshitted by people and all. This was so popular campaign that when we checked the impact this has created, which was told by the media expert, was tremendous. Absolutely. Then we were giving the some caps or some signed by some senior officers on the quizzes and all. So these are the various ways through which social platform can interact, can create a good message and take it to the large masses very quickly in a very focused manner. With this, I will end my talk, and I am available for the question and answer as and when it arises, please.
Thank you.
Over
Thank
to
you.
you, Dr. Parida. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Srivastav, for very crisply sharing your thoughts. And I'm sure social media is really going to be very, very impactful. You shared your FASTag. And after all the presentations, we have a Q&A. So maybe if you are available, we'll take up the questions that time. So thank you once again. Now
Sure,
I'll
sir.
invite,
Thank you.
Mr. Jehan from Jehan Kotwal from GoodMind. So he will be making a presentation on sensitization of truck drivers to road safety, an initiative by Humsafar. It's very, very focused to the issues of truck drivers. So over to you, Jehan. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. And good afternoon, everyone, and esteemed panelists as well. It's an honor to even present what we're doing to you gentlemen and ladies like you who've done so much in the previous years for road safety. I think I'll just take some of this time, and since we have a crisp 10 minutes, start my timer and try and see if we can make this little interactive with the panelists here, because it may be a little difficult to get the audience involved. And I'd like to share my screen, but while I'm sharing and talking, please feel free to add your thoughts, and happy to hear what you have in terms of what your ideas are for what we're doing, and do you think it makes sense, what doesn't, etc. So I'm just sharing my screen. Is it visible to all of you?
Yeah, it's visible.
Thanks, Professor. So a little backstory, like Sir said, that we have a lot of these accidents that are happening every year, and typically my experience and what we've done in our trucking company, I come from a family of truckers. My father started as a truck driver himself. We had about 10 trucks in 2013, and typically used to have 2-3 accidents every year. I fundamentally was not very happy with that, and I made sure that we started incorporating safety technologies to improve the road accident situation in my own fleet of vehicles. And by 2017, we did a lot of experiments, and one of the successes of those experiments was, by the time I'd reached about 110 trucks, I had 1 accident in the whole year. And this whole flip of, so to speak, ratio in accidents was the same kind of technology that I'm showing you today. And so what we call it is, it's a technology company is called GoodMind, and our product is called Humsafar. And the application, of course, is for heavy commercial vehicles, even trucks as well as buses now, because we're working with a lot of STs in this ecosystem. But to take you through a little bit about what we, or the little, so to speak, snapshot, most of you would know the accident statistics in India. But what I'm just very critically focused is not on the left side, but more on the right side, which is that a lot of these accidents are actually human error related. So you have 60% of them is due to bad driving practices. 20% of it is due to sleep deprivation, especially in the heavy vehicle ecosystem. They're driving for 16 hours, sometimes 18 hours a day. And then, of course, you have access to emergencies, which is a big challenge as well. And when an accident happens, how do you reach that point, etc. So how do we address this as a solution, right? The technology can only take you so far, but what we've seen is that technology is a big enabler. And what we mean by that is that our focus is to be as scalable, as cost effective as possible for the road safety ecosystem. So essentially what we've done is it's a smartphone based solution. It's called Humsafar Driver app, where essentially every truck driver today, almost 85 to 90% truck drivers have smartphones, and so do bus drivers. What we do is we essentially give real-time alerts. So let's say, for example, Professor Sikdar is a truck driver, let's make him for today, and he is driving 4 hours or 5 hours continuously on the road, right? When does he know that he needs to take a break? Sometimes you just enter this, long distance trucking, you just keep driving and forget, oh, I should take a stop for a bit. So it will say, Ustad, take a chai break, right? It'll talk to you in your own language, in your own, so to speak, understanding in the best way possible to you and with respect. It's a very different psychological approach with things like, for example, that's just one. Black spot detection is another. Third is how do we end road hypnosis? So it will tell the driver some sort of quiz, some sort of question answer around Bollywood. And I'd like to ask the panelists this question actually. One of the questions our app asks our drivers is, "Mere paas maa hai, ye kaun se picture ka dialogue hai?" So, anybody?
Yeah, it's Diwar.
Diwar, yes, correct. So Diwar is the movie, right? And so truck drivers would love that, or bus drivers suddenly get excited because they're in the middle of driving, entering road hypnosis, they get bored. It's a very if you go on the ground and if you sit with them, I've done multiple trips, sleep in the truck, eat with them. I've realized that it's a very tough job, and you need some sort of interesting entertainment, right? So that coupled with so to speak, while they drive, and if they follow the rules of, let's say, not over speeding, not continuously driving, entering, driving carefully, etc., building, so to speak, a scoring system that essentially enables them to, make, of course, themselves better, but at the same time also get some sort of positive rewards and enforcements for this. So, for example, every time a driver drives safely on our platform, we incentivize them 30 paisa per kilometer, 10 paisa per kilometer, and that goes into his UPI directly. So if he's driven, let's say, 5,000 kilometers a month, I'm saying that's the minimum he would do, he would make anywhere between 500 to 1,000 rupees just by driving safely. And why is this important, right? Because the truck driver or bus driver is predominantly driving because he wants to make money. And it's a very simple thing that there is no incentive for safety today. There is nobody who gives me an award for maintaining my PUC or maintaining my insurance, right? Our ecosystem is very how do I say this? It's very stick driven. We are the carrot. Let me just put it that way. Everywhere you don't do something, you will get a lathi. There'll be a fine, not wearing helmet, not wearing seatbelt. But for the citizens who are wearing everyday seatbelt, what is the reward, right? And so we are a lot like children in that sense, where we need this, so to speak, carrot and stick approach. Unfortunately, our ecosystem doesn't have a carrot or cannot provide one at this stage, and we're trying to change that. One of the big features of our product also is right now what we focus to especially the larger fleet owners, because it has to be a revenue generating model, is driver management, driver retention. And we've done a lot of experiments. So today we have over 30,000 drivers, almost 40% of them are active. We have over 10 crore kilometers recorded. And essentially, this is how it looks. So to give you an idea, here are the 3 types of screens. So it will, if you're driving well, it will be in green. And it will say things like, Ustad, great driving, keep it up, parivars are very happy, etc., etc. The moment you do something wrong, it goes into yellow. And that yellow is your something like, let's say, for example, overspeeding. It would say in the driver's language, it means diesel overuse ho raha hai aapka, which is a very big thing for a truck driver. Like for him, like I don't know how many of you are aware, but our trucking ecosystem, especially out of the 8 to 10 million trucks, you will see that typically 2/3 of their amount is actually money saved in diesel. 1/3 is only actually paid in check. And so this diesel saving is a big factor for them. So how do you go into his psyche, right? How do you think about what he wants? And then from that, if he still doesn't listen, and if he still goes over 65, for example, it goes into red. And then he starts getting minus points. And then, of course, his rewards accordingly are changed. Apart from that, of course, black spots alerts, sleep detection. One of the innovative ways we do sleep detection is, you see this front camera of your phone, your selfie camera. All it needs to do is you need to keep it like an Ola Uber driver in front of you, and you drive. we use this AI technology in computer vision for detecting sleep. So if your eyes shut for more than 3 seconds, automatically a buzzer is alerted and it wakes the driver up. Now, why is this important? One is because a lot of the drivers don't have a choice. A lot of the times they are forced to drive extra hours, or they are incentivized, so to speak, to reach on time, etc. And that sleep in few seconds where their eyes are shut, the accident happens. And 20 to 30% of these road accidents happen due to sleep deprivation. So that's one of the ways we avoid it. It's a very smart but easy jugaad, so to speak, solution. Apart from that, like I said, we're very focused on human-centered design. So we make it's especially a lot of focus area around how do we communicate to the driver. So it's all positive reinforcement, good driving, etc., etc. If you see there are points that are given, we talk to the driver, okay, badhiya chala rahe ho, keep it up, etc. So it's audio as well as visual communication. And then, of course, like I said, points are accumulated into the UPI account, and through that, the driver can redeem. And this is a lot of the host of things that we offer to the ecosystem, things like microfinance, health cover, leaderboards, cheapest diesel points, salary disbursements. So everything that helps a truck driver adopt this tool. And so that's basically more or less it on what we are doing. And happy to hear more thoughts from all of you, but looking forward to your question answers. Thank you so much. You're on mute, sir.
Yeah, you talked about diesel saving. So other than diesel saving, what else is important for the driver?
So, sir, see, the biggest thing is paisa bachao ya paisa kamao. So that is the number one. The biggest thing is for one of the big indicators we have seen is actually one of the most used features in our app actually is family tracking. So we have seen that the family of the drivers want to know where they are. So we give a 24/7 link to the family, and so the family can track where they are. So this is an incentive. So the family also knows, oh, mera pati safe hai, ya mera bhai, ya, my father is safe, etc. And I faced this challenge as well when I was young. Dad would go onto the truck for multiple months. That time there were no phones, etc. And so it's very difficult to communicate. Today, also out of the 170,000 deaths that happen, about 15,000 are truck drivers, and these are the main bread earners of the family. That, of course, and they are one of the biggest. 65% of them essentially are involved in these deaths on the highways, but to a very large degree, it's not their fault, and they are not trained correctly. In India, how we disperse licenses, we all know, right? So how do we reskill them today? And how do we reach every truck driver and bus driver in the country today is what we are focused on. Once we are in every truck and bus, and we can even reduce risk by 40 to 50% on these national highways, we can potentially save these 100 lives a day. And that's kind of our vision and dream. And so we're working towards that.
Okay. And you said you carried out a study that the particular system or the app which you have developed, that is effective. How did you study that? How could you find that whatever you have developed is making some sort of sense?
So we did two sorts of, studies. A research study. First, we did a very preliminary one in our own fleet for our own trucks with my own, so to speak, drivers. And then we did one which a much broader 1,000 vehicle random set of drivers. So our professors from IIM Ahmedabad, etc., and we've got a couple of collaborative institutional partnerships where we've done these kind of researches and seen the last 5 years history per year record in terms of accident. The ratio is about 4%. Using our product, it's coming down to almost more than 40%, but we say conservatively 40% reduction in accidents because we have got schemes around, making sure when the driver has an accident, we give him a medical, so to speak, insurance. So you can call us and give him the doctor on call, etc. So he does reach out to us and inform us when an accident has happened. So through those studies, we've been able to identify.
That's pretty interesting. Now, if Professor Sikdar has something.
May I add one thing, sir? Because I was doing a pilot. We were doing from World Economic Forum a pilot using this app only, and how we calculated the improvement was those roughly 10,000 drivers has downloaded this app, and a majority of them were using. In the 6-month time, they drove something around 15 million kilometers, and during this 15 million kilometers, literally, absolutely there were no fatalities, zero fatality. Minor 5 to 6 accidents were reported, which came to us because they're all tracked. So had it been a bigger, it could have been. So now we just try to see what could have been if this was not there, before and after a study kind of thing. This gave a good idea that it was very impactful. And then second was the scores kept on increasing month on month. The first month the score was low, which increased to, and finally it increased by 70% in the 6th month. So that gave a good idea because the scores were directly related with the driving skills. That means they are making lesser, they're not over speeding, minus points are less. So that was another indicator.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Srivastav. Professor Sikdar, any point from you? You are muted. You are muted, Professor Sikdar.
Thank you, Professor. I would not, dwell with it at this time because there are other presentations. So I will thank only Mr. Jehan Kotwal. He has done a wonderful job, and I'm sure this thing will make a big difference in the kind of safety scenario of the country.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now I invite our third panelist, Ms. Rajni Gandhi from TRACS. The presentation is on right messaging in road safety awareness and education, role of media. So Ms. Rajni, now I invite you. You can use the next 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. And very good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, IRF India chapter, for inviting TRACS on this platform and sharing the expertise from others also, and from our end, what we have learned throughout our 15 years journey in case of road safety and advocacy across the country. So as we know that Kapila ji usually say that we all are people in one of yajna, और हम सबकी तरफ से आहुति जरूरी है. So considering that point of line, TRACS is also trying to do the best in case of road safety. And as my topic is that, and the discussion which we are going to do, the role of stakeholders in creating awareness for road safety, which is meant to lot, because in morning itself, I had an interview with the TV9, and they were also talking about the same thing, how the education and awareness can make a difference in case of road safety. So there are different aspects and there are different case studies from different countries like European countries, how the road safety education and trainings, etc., has made the changes. But somewhere education can play a role, but if it should be supported by some other pillars as well. So I'm just sharing the screen. I hope my presentation will be, just a second. So I hope it is visible now.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yes, it
You
is
need
visible.
to make it full screen.
Yeah, that I'm doing. I hope it is clear now.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we have seen the decade of actions for road safety, 2011, 2020, and now 21 to 2030. All the NGOs who are working in this field now have more expectation. What the result would be the different if we compare our all efforts by 2011 to 2020, and now in this new decade. Yes, we have the same target with us. We have to reduce the fatalities by 50%, but how we have to gain that and how this entire system can help us. We know that we have these SDGs and the targets we have to achieve under 11.11 and 3 also, but not considering that because I have a 10 minutes time. So coming on the main point, that stakeholders in case of road safety. So who are the stakeholders in case of road safety? We have all of them are in road safety and traffic police department, who is the face usually on roads, always hear a lot in case of any problem public face on roads. So their role is somewhere very much important when we talk about the local settings as well. Apart from that, if we talk about the, I just want to share the hidden metrics very clearly, how the this entire things are working. Like if we talk about the rules, we usually say that human errors are the reason behind the number of fatalities and accidents are increasing, but how human factors are developing. If human errors are happening, so what are the reasons behind it? So if I'll just draw your attention towards this metrics, it's very clear that accident prevention, what human can do, information, attitudes, disorders, police enforcement, right? Vehicle equipment, speeding, lighting, brakes, everything related to vehicle. And along with that, what are the settings into that human is driving? The environment, road layout, speed limits, vulnerable road users. Then if we talk about the crash happens, then what were the things, the protective gears he was using? Was he wearing the seat belt? Was he wearing the helmet or not? Something like that. And then if we talk about the vehicle, so the protective tools were working or not, road design was good or not. Even in the recent crash of one of the very known personality in India, these all things were considered at that time also. And we know the post-crash life conservation care, first aid was there or not, accessibility was there or not. And what about the environment? Was there congestion, call facility, availability, and everything? So this is something, a very nice things which has been said by the hidden metrics and very clearly says that how human behavior, the awareness, the information system works in case of road safety. What are the role of other things like vehicle and equipment and other environment things when a crash happens? So this is another point from the SOAV itself, that these are the 5 sustainable safety principles. And the 4th point is the forgiveness of the environment and of road users. This is very important somewhere. We are working on safety of people on highways. I really appreciate and admire that. But what about the behavior of the people in the cities, in the districts, in the village? They are the same people who are coming on the highways. So if we want highways to be safe, are the drivers are different? Are the drivers are from cities are altogether different? And the people who are using the highways are altogether different? No, they are the same people who are driving into villages, district, city roads, and they are coming on the highways. So what type of road user behavior or the mindset they already have? The same mindset they will definitely show on the highway itself. So here we need to work on the awareness part very much. But along with that, if we want to inculcate road safety as a lifestyle, or we want to work on the behavior pattern, so we need to start road safety from outside the home. The people who are using the internal roads, the city roads, and then they are coming on the highways. This is where the awareness works, but not in the awareness, not in just manner of like the previous speaker, I think Mr. Srivastava well said, the photogenic events would not help in case of awareness. The sustainable awareness drives are required, which are supported by safe infrastructure and safe and enforcement drives as well. Till the time we're not having these 2 supported pillars also in our education system for road safety, I think we will be again behind in case of road safety. Here, I just draw your attention. You can read very easily that how, according to recent studies, this only road safety education is ineffective in reducing death. So the concentration and our entire strength should be now in this new decade that whatever we are doing, we have to evaluate from the previous decade, and any NGO, anyone, the corporate, anyone who is working on road safety, they should sit, and I think we should all sit together and think that why we were not so much successful in the previous decade and how our activities should be different from that decade. Because still we can see there are number of activities are happening, but that are not sustainable drives or not road safety movement sort of a thing. That is to be converted, and how that we need to talk a lot. This is safe infrastructure. These are the case studies by tracks. We have worked on Rajiv Chowk, The trial has gone very much successful, and the department, the administrator from Gurugram is working on the final implementation of this trial, which is already successful over there. We have also done the Ajmer entry gate. A lot of congestions and everything were happening over there. We have also worked on the Shatabdi Chowk in Nagpur, and the trial has gone, is already in the implementation way. So this is what we are, because there were fatalities happening. People were not able to cross the roads properly. Here we are saying the people are aware. If we talk about here Rajiv Chowk, people are aware I have to cross from zebra crossing. But if the zebra crossing is not at the right place and it is not supported by the slow down techniques, then how a road user can be safely cross the road? He has that awareness, but the safe infrastructure only will help him or help her to use that knowledge. That is very important, and we need to understand. Public transport, we ask them, please drop at a right place. But if we are creating such an intersection which are not having the dropping and picking up facilities for public transport people, then how we can expect those road users will definitely show their right behavior? Police wala say go from here, and that person has to take his passengers from that place. So that is the need of that intersection, and we are somewhere losing those things. So if we are asking and awareing the public simultaneously, we require the safe infrastructure and traffic management so that these all three pillars can work together and give us a good picture of our roads. This, I just want to draw your attention towards road safety and junior video. I don't know, might be it is not working right now.
Rajni, maybe you need to wind up.
Okay, so last role of the media. Mr. Kapila always asks me that you are working on a very good points in case of role of media. So our advocacy is going on where we are reaching to different advertisers, and I think now many NGOs are coming forward and they have already reached to the many advertisers who are advertising their products in a not in a right way, or we can say they are not aligned with the road safety norms. So that is the role of media. We have to take care, and I request from this forum that all the advertisers or the advertising agencies, Ministry of INB and Advertising Council of India, that like European and American countries, they have strict rules for advertising and putting their products into sale through media in a very right way. Even they don't allow these speed marks, tire signs also on road, and they can ban those advertisements because it affects our all efforts which all of us are doing at a ground level. And few of the advertisement and few of the scenes in media, they provoke people to drive in a very different way. So thank you so much. I just wind up here only. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rajni. So thank you for the nice presentation. Now I'll invite Professor Sikdar, and we'll take up if there is any question answer after all presentations are done. So Professor P.K. Sikdar will be making a presentation on sensitizing stakeholders for safety of vulnerable road users, VRUs. In fact,
Rajni, can you please
sharing.
unshare?
Yeah, I'm just doing that. Just a second.
Thank you. While she's doing that, let me share the screen. I hope it is visible.
Yeah, it's visible, sir. Please go ahead.
Right. I like two things from Rajini's presentation. One is that reference where it says that education and awareness alone cannot improve road safety. That's perfectly true, because we need safe system approach, not only education and awareness. That will not, I mean, we will increase the awareness and education level, understanding of the road safety issues. in the minds of road safety, road users, but actually they may not be behaving the way they are required to behave. Second thing I liked is her showing the head-on matrix, the top row of cells, the pre-crash things.
Yeah.
All these things are related to saving human lives and injuries. And those are the purpose of the kind of education and awareness, or rather responsibility, role and responsibility of the stakeholders. Those are the things to avoid road crashes. So I'm trying to enhance that. I mean, we are talking about vulnerable road users. Now, these are the vulnerable road users: pedestrian, bicycles, non-motorized auto rickshaws, e-rickshaws, motorized two-wheelers. They are vulnerable because they do not have a iron or steel shield or fiberglass shield around them to protect them if they fall on the road. And that's why they are called vulnerable road users. Why you need to be concerned about vulnerable road users? Look at this. It's on a national highway, a intersection of the size of a football field. A big truck is coming. These people are waiting in the middle of the intersection, scared of that truck. Look at this. Beautifully designed, laid out, constructed with the turn lanes, everything. But where is the pedestrian crosswalk? Right in the middle of the junction. They are trembling when all these trucks are going there. Look at this huge road, 4 lanes in each direction. And there is a herd of pedestrians crossing the road. There is no underpass, no overpass. Consequence of all these is this. This is 2019 data. 2020 data is misleading because a large part of the year was under lockdown. So 19 data shows that 70% of all fatalities took place in India are vulnerable road users, as indicated by these red arrows all around. Now, this is the consequence of all that, what I have shown you in the previous 2-3 slides. 2020 data also recently published in last March, and that also showed that the pedestrian, bicycles, and two-wheelers proportions have increased even in that year, 2020, when half of the year was under lockdown. And look at these two-wheelers fatalities. 37.1%, it has gone to 43.2%. It's really scary. It's really scary. And you can see the trend, two-wheeler fatalities trend since 2012 up to 2020. It is increasing steadily. And next 2-3 years, it may reach 50%. 50% of all fatalities in India will be two-wheeler deaths. It's really scary. Look at this. What happens with the two-wheelers? They have occupied the footpath. They have occupied the footpath because the road is congested.
कहाँ गई थी? मौसम का हाल लेने. The all-new Hero Pleasure. Why should boys have all the fun?
That's right. This is the way we advertise two-wheelers. After all that data that I have shown, in spite of that, this is the way. I mean, responsibility of the advertising is like this, when we know what's going wrong. Just a moment, just a moment. Traffic stream is stopped. All the other vehicles are stopped. The motorcycles have a light. Motorcycle pedestrians, they are ahead of traffic management. This is again the same thing. Everyone is stopping, and proper arrangement is made that they can continue to go. No wonder 2020 shows 43% fatality of the two-wheelers. global plan of road safety, what Rajni referred, 21 to 2030. This first, all other four pillars are same. The first one demanded that we have to make everyone safe on the road, not only motor vehicles. Cycle is shown here, but it means multimodal transport and land use planning. We must provide infrastructure in such a way that all modes are safe there. Look at this, a kind of elevated non-motorized traffic rotary in China. Another one in China, this is of course only for pedestrian. The earlier one was for non-motorized transport, all non-motorized transport. And look at this developed country situation, how they tackle the pedestrians, including the, physically challenged pedestrians as well. Look at these are ramped footpath to the road and then to another footpath. These are all ramped appropriately. Look at these tactile paving, which we also know, but look at our tactile paving situation. Our authorities have used the tactile paving, but can anybody be safe here? Any disabled persons, visually impaired person, can he be traveling on this? What for this was prepared here? Look at this again, the same thing, tactile paving. Is it not waste of money? They didn't understand. The stakeholders, the authorities who are implementing this, they are not understanding what for they are implementing this. This is the fundamental problem. We cannot blame only the road users all the time. The authorities, the people who are at the helm of affairs, they are also doing something very awkward. Look at this. This is in Delhi itself, in Maharani Bagh area. A 8-lane, 10-lane elevated corridor is being constructed here, as you can see the pillars and all. And there is a small underpass here. 10, 11 lanes for the motor vehicles. And for huge volume of pedestrians, such a narrow underpass. In conclusion, I would say who is to be sensitized? No doubt the road users, VRUs need to be sensitized once, twice, time and again. But that alone will not solve the problem. There is an equally important task of sensitizing or actually building capacity in the planners, designers, policymakers for completely changing in their planning and design skills and attitude in favor of VRUs. We are talking about VRUs today. And that's why I specially did this for VRU. The outlook of the road authorities and ULBs, urban local bodies, towards planning and design of road infrastructure must be substantially changed. Otherwise, we will not be able to change that 70% fatality of VRUs. National standards for planning, design, and implementation of facilities for VRUs to be strictly followed. There are very good design manuals, guidelines provided by Indian Roads Congress as well as other agencies. And there are new ones to be developed, obviously, for enhancing the safety of VRUs. Particularly, as I say, 80% of the motor vehicle population is of two-wheelers. Then where is the two-wheeler lanes in our country? They are mingling, going in between two vehicles and then getting killed. Enforcement of road traffic rules be uniform for all modes, including VRUs. What I have shown in the video, that motorcycle doesn't have any kind of enforcement rules. Everybody else, as if four-wheelers, trucks and buses, they are only the killers. Who actually get killed is the two-wheelers. 43.2% in 2020. Yes. Enforcement skills and capacity need to be enhanced using technology. This is what is required, particularly in enforcement. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Now I invite Ms. Vandana Lakhanpal from Prabha Foundation. She is the 5th speaker. After this, we can pick up a couple of questions. So she will be making presentation on role of civil society or community for public awareness on road safety. Jan Bhagidari. Ms. Vandana, can you switch on your video also? We can't hear you. The PPT, like the front slide, is visible. Sir, can you hear Ms. Vandana?
No, sir, we can't hear also. First slide is visible.
Yeah, only the front slide is visible.
Vandana ji, are you able to hear us?
I think there is some issue. We can't hear the audio. So if someone can speak to her.
Yeah. Mr. Ghosh, can somebody?
You know, the computer vision algorithm is always designed to see not just the eyes, but overall facial expressions as well. So,
Okay.
so for example, when your head nods, when your eyes are shutting, when you're falling asleep, your head falls a bit down, you know, it moves sideways, etc. So it detects micro expressions. And it's not just a simple eye shutting algorithm. So it's built over time, and it's using ML, we keep making it better and better. So it's not just eye shutting and simply it will detect the trigger. It's more complicated than that. It's just to explain to the users here that in a simple fashion that eye shutting will trigger the alarm, but otherwise we use much more complicated machine learning tools to get this
Yeah, that's clear. That's clear. So
So,
many.
Mr. Parida, Mrs. Vandana Lakhanpal is there now.
Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, Ms. Vandana, we can go ahead with your presentation. So please take 10 minutes.
Presentation.
Yeah, it's visible.
So I'm so sorry for this inconvenience and this delay that technology unfortunately has challenged me with. I hope I'm audible now.
Yeah, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Yes. So, sir, yes, I've been introduced briefly, but just another brief introduction to myself. I essentially got into the space of road safety only when I started implementing CSR projects related to road safety. That has been my experience, and implementing CSR projects typically give me a lot of insight to the society in general, because I'm addressing people, whether they're cyclists. I have addressed a number of bicycle riders, a number of two-wheelers when it came to addressing them, whether in the was in the form of highlighting the importance of usage of helmets, whether it was for them or their children. I have addressed truck drivers in a different way, sir. My address has been when we've done their eye testing at a mass scale at a couple of factories. And that has been our intervention of the general society. So at our level, we've realized that there is an understanding which each of us can take forward. And each of us have a potential when it comes to helping out the civil society. So can we go to the next slide? I'm sorry, since I'm not presenting. We have realized that there are, like all of you have been narrating, number of road safety elements, and a lot of people are involved in the entire paraphernalia. And as we have realized, so the design aspect, yes, we have faced a lot of issues with that. Even at the grassroots level, when I talk of people wanting to make in suggestions, I've realized that there is no option for a common man to raise his issues or queries. So that is where I would actually, sir, would want some intervention, some help from our esteemed panelists and from the policymakers. If I want to assist someone and suggest that there is a bad road, there should be a place where the civil society or as individuals, we can come up with that this is the requirement of the hour. Talking of laws pertaining and driver education, our esteemed guests have already been speaking about them. I don't think I should be talking too much in that space. So can I go to the next slide, please? Sir, our firm belief is that if all of us simply follow just the rules, we should be able to attain no accidents. Yes, it all begins for all of us at home. If I ensure that I am not doing things myself and I'm being a responsible person, and I ensure that I am not driving or overspeeding, not drunken driving, I can make a difference. But I have another point here, sir. Having stayed in a state like Qatar for a bit, I realized that there is an element of law which can actually enforce and make things much easier. When we look at the law in Qatar, if I jump a signal, I pay something to the tune of 18,000 rupees. The second time I pay 35,000 rupees, and the fifth time I pay 50,000 rupees and my license goes. So we need to implement our laws. That is the only language, unfortunately, our Indian system learns. The other angle that I would insist, sir, is that if we are serving alcohol and we have someone who is to drive, if we can request the person or actually get the person into an Ola or an Uber. We have to prevent our children from driving without actually getting formal licenses. And all these small steps, as every individual would want to take, can actually make a marked difference. I'm sorry, sir, I think I have highlighted most of the issues. And I'm sorry for actually going off time with the entire presentation.
No issue, Ms. Vandana. That's fine. So is that all?
Yes, sir, I would wind up there.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you.
unfortunately unable to see my presentation, so I'm not just talking off my
Okay.
business.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. But you have made your point. So with that, maybe we can pick up a couple of questions. So I'll go through the questions on the chat. A few questions I have read. Okay. So a couple of questions for Mr. Jayan. So Mr. Jayan, people want to get an exposure to the app. So is there any web page through which they can access the app?
Yes, you can go onto the Play Store on any
Okay.
Android phone and type Humsafar Driver Safety, and you can directly download it and use it as well. The rewards for driving safely, of course, is for commercial vehicle drivers, but this can be used by any citizen in the country free of cost.
Okay. So there is one question. Also, in this case, for a driver, using a smartphone is must, right? That's the question. Like if a smartphone
Correct,
is
yes.
required. But in night, how the AI will detect the eyes since there is no light in the driver's cabin?
It's a very good question, actually. And this is a challenge we've faced in a lot of mobile phones. But what we have seen is in the new generation phones that have come, there are IR cameras, infrared cameras, which are in the selfie as well, because a lot of phones are getting unlocked using face detection, as you are aware. So those now are all coming with IR selfie cameras. So you don't necessarily need light for those type of phones. Of course, those are relatively more expensive phones, as you are aware. But we are seeing that coming into the same ecosystem as the truck drivers also purchase anywhere between 8 to 10,000 rupee phones. So if that does not have the IR camera, yes, that problem is still a problem. But to a certain degree, it can be solved by switching on the light inside the truck cabin, a light. Or we are also working on a retrofit solution around the mobile phone holder having a light attached to it.
Okay, so that's a question from Mr. Ravi Thakkar, who has one more question. Is Zoomcar uses similar app apart from the monetary part, right?
I believe a lot of people are trying to do this. Even from you have a lot of these, so to speak, car rental companies, or even these EVs nowadays have their own car driving score. So yes, I'm sure there must be a lot of people who are trying to achieve this. Zoomcar, of course, is only doing it for probably their own cars, and not for all. And so are the ecosystem players in the industry. Our solution is for all and free for all.
Okay, I think I can request the panelists, they can go through the questions in the question and answer section. If they wish, they can respond to some of the questions all by themselves. Otherwise, we have picked up most of the questions.
Sir, one question I would like to answer. Somebody has asked Dinesh Kumar Bijalwan. He has asked very good question. He has asked, the question is, can one load user be trained? In fact, the entire webinar theme is that only. We are training, or we are creating awareness to the vulnerable road users, the two-wheeler drivers, the pedestrian. Everybody has to be aware about when they are walking on a road which is a shared space used by the largest vehicle to the pedestrian. People has to know their limitations. They have to be alert when they are on the road. So the campaign, the social media campaign, or the training modules, or any kind of awareness campaign which we make is meant for everyone, including the pedestrian, the two-wheeler, vulnerable road users, as well as the bigger vehicle drivers. So I think that is what he wanted. They can be trained. Yeah, they can be made aware. There is nothing like training, but they can be made aware of traffic rules. For example, many people are not aware when they walk on a road, crowded road, the pedestrian are supposed to come from the opposite side. They're not supposed to go from the same side on the left side, because at least they can walk. This is not known to many people. This awareness creates that, yeah, you have to walk from the opposite side. So these things definitely they must be made aware.
Thank you, Srivastava. So, Professor Sikdar, any last point from your side?
Well, there are a couple of questions. I was rolling through the Q&A kind of box. Now, what about the condition of pothole? Why aren't we using new method of road making, which are cost effective and also more sustainable? Yes, they are trying, but there are always possibility of, going bad during the rainy days, and potholes are created during the rainy weather. That will remain, but that is to be repaired quickly. That's what is the requirement, and our system probably is not so prompt to do the job. And of course, all have answered the question, can the vulnerable road users be trained? Yes, nothing to be trained actually in that way. A motorcycle driver should learn how to drive motorcycle safely. A kind of a child is not allowed to come to the road alone. He comes holding the finger of his father and mother. So pedestrian must learn the basic rules of using the road, crossing the road. Then only they should come to the road alone. So like that, I mean, there are a few questions of this kind of general type. Any sharp curves, any NH in my TI reply till last year? I don't know what is this question. Is it true? CRI has denied to have corrected any sharp curve of any NH. CRI doesn't have authority to correct the sharp curves on any of the NH. It is the responsibility of the NHAI or ministry, whoever is the kind of managing authority of the NH. I don't know, is there any penalty system aligned with the app usage of unsafe driving? This is a,
I can answer that, sir.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. As of now, no, because there is no capacity building as of now. Everybody has not downloaded it. The system has not fully matured. So what we are right now doing is encouraging it, the safe driving scores, and encouraging means we are incentivizing it through various soft incentives like some coupons, the premium rebate in the insurance and all those things. So it's a positive kind of psychology we are driving, not a negative of punishment as of now. But going forward, when the system gets matured, of course, it can also tell who are the habitual people whose score are always low or who always over speed because their points are always minor. But that can be done. Right now, we are using this to create a focused module, training module. If a person is habitual over speed driver, so his score pattern says that minus scores are more on over speed driving. So then we are creating, then alert are given to them that you are boss, you generally drive over speed, something like that. An alert system. Training is induced due to that, not a punishment, and the positive.
Yeah,
One more question.
Yeah. Dr. Padmavati Kakinada from Kakinada has asked, is there any option of GPRS alert of truck location is connected to nearest toll plaza? Mr. Jehan has already mentioned that driver can contact the
no, so I will answer this question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Actually, what she is asking is connected whether anybody can approach to toll plaza or toll plaza can send an ambulance. It is already there. In fact, the ambulance which are placed at the toll plaza, in fact, almost all the ambulances are having a GPS device into it, the location tracker. Not only this, there is a call center number 1033. But whenever it is dialed, in case of any stress or to share the location in case of any emergency, the call is diverted to the nearest toll plaza only. And from toll plaza, either a ambulance goes to that site. If required, then a recovery crane or a patrolling vehicle also goes with it. So the toll plaza actually becomes a nodal management center. And they do this. This is a job which is as per law also they're supposed to do, and they do it also.
Yeah, Professor Parida wants to say something on this question. Professor Parida. You are muted. You are muted.
No, actually, I just pressed that answer live. So I thought people can hear Mr. Srivastav. So I have nothing on this.
Okay.
So maybe Ms. Rajni, if she wants to speak something.
Yeah, I think there is one question. I think anonymous attendee, something has said, nodal officers from Education Department, Uttarakhand. They are saying we focus on school education, but two-wheelers are being used by students of higher education. Can we include all those students also? How? So I would be happy to answer this. Somewhere like youngsters, there is a now youth declaration is going on, and recently also during the UN program and WHO program, we have seen that how the community of youth people have come forward around the world. Even from our tracks organization, one of the youth ambassador has been part of the Stockholm Declaration. So this is the time we have to make them the part of solution. How we have to make them the part of solution? By inculcating the good practices into them, by accepting and adopting a sustainable road safety action plan for the university or for the schools, because one time activity is not going to solve it. So if you can have those youngsters, rather out of them only, some of them can be the role model or the road safety ambassadors, put their capacity. We will be very happy to do that, and putting the capacity of road safety into them, and then give them some responsibility that how that same lifestyle can be shifted to other fellow friends also in the university and school. So this is the way of stakeholders can be involved in case of road safety awareness, and can enhance road safety in their particular community as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Rajni. So with that, now probably we can move towards summing up. So I'll pick up a few points from each of the panelists. We started with Mr. Akhilesh Srivastava with his innovative experiments with FASTag. He talked about definitely going or utilizing very innovative, creative mechanisms to spread awareness, but then awareness has to be focused and impactful. So it's just not going to be ornamental that you celebrate the safety week and then forget. So then you need to have programs which are definitely impactful. And especially I like the concept of encourage young drivers, those who are aspiring to get a driving license. That's the right time where you can teach them about good driving habits, good driving manner. That's the best point to start with. Then Mr. Jehan specifically focused on the truck drivers, and very interesting kind of app. It's very good that they are working very targeted towards truck drivers. And if the safety of trucking improves through this app, then this is going to be a great contribution. Ms. Rajni talked about the right kind of messaging for road safety, and education can play a lead role. But then Professor Sikdar clarified it's not sufficient all alone. Education and awareness, it could be the starting point, but then we need to do many more things. She demonstrated certain case studies around road safety, and the role of media also, like putting the advertisement with the right perspective, which is appropriately oriented towards road safety, is going to be very, very useful. Professor Sikdar focused very much on the vulnerable road users, those who are really greatly affected in the road safety situations. So there is a need to, while there is a need to train road users, but also there is a great need to educate planners, designers, and policymakers. They need to be sensitized about the good practices. They must know how to develop these infrastructure projects in an appropriate manner so that it is in sync with the road safety concepts. Ms. Vandana Lakhanpal made her points with respect to the mass eye testing of truck drivers, those they have done. And there is always possibilities to contribute towards different segments of road safety. She focused more on the enforcement side. Proper enforcement is something which is going to help. But then she echoed the same point that good driving habits are one which will contribute towards road safety. And in fact, there was a concern that we see today lot of young school children driving without driving license. So there are two major issues: driving without driving license and driving without good driving habits. So that's a major concern. And I'm sure all the panelists made very valuable presentation on this third webinar on role of stakeholders in creating awareness for road safety. And I'm sure there are a lot of takeaway points in terms of translation, be it the various kind of uses of social media, uses of the right kind of media campaigning. Ms. Rajni talked about engaging the school children, creating the brand ambassadors within the school so that the school starts following these kind of road safety ambassadors in the school premises or concern about BRUs. The presentations by all 5 panelists were extremely useful to strengthen the basic core points of today's webinar, that is creating awareness for road safety. So thank you all. So thanks Mr. Ghosh, Professor Sikdar for this opportunity. With that, I hand over to Professor P.K. Sikdar for closing remarks.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you for your time, and it was ably conducted this last 2 hours, and it was very interesting. I mean, all the panelists did a good job and to the point to make really, I mean, all of us aware about where we should concentrate our energy. Our energy should be concentrated on some defined way rather than distributing everywhere. And that's what is the message. And I take it, and now I hand over this to Mr. Ghosh to declare the closer.
Thank you very much to all the panelists and the attendees for having the patience, and they all carry very valuable insights and advice. So let's all follow road safety for our own benefit and for the benefit of the fellow travelers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Close it now.
Yeah, we close the
Okay.
session. So
Okay.
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.